The following is an EHC media production.
For honest, uncut, and often controversial coverage of all things wrestling, there's one place to get it, with some good old banter thrown in.
Join the Butcher and myself, two-time Knowledge Champion Mike Larkin, along with your host Dazzy Dangerously, every Friday for the Max Wrestling Podcast, with championship specials every 2 to 3 months.
WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, and the company with many names and more.
On Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podomatic, iTunes, and Stitcher.
We must now bid you adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bam!
EWA!
Do you play WWE 2K18 on the PS4? Would you like to play against other like-minded players in a very unique online league that's unique because we are more committed to storylines than just a straight-up competitive league. The league is still very competitive, but we also try to run things like a bit of a TV show. Check out the YouTube channel and the Facebook page in the description below if you're interested.
What's going on, RWT family? This is your boy Moses Marquez, the voice of the Major League Show, and I'm coming at you to tell you if you enjoy the way I go in-depth into all things New Japan Pro Wrestling on the Major League Show, then you will love the way I go into all things pro wrestling on Smart Mark Radio. We talk WWE, Impact, Lucha, Indies, and everything in between. So if you want to listen to a little Smart Mark Radio and you consider yourself a Smart Mark, check out smartmarkradio.podbean.com. Again, smartmarkradio.podbean.com. You can also check us out on SoundCloud under the artist name Moses Marquez. Thanks, guys, and we hope to catch you on later this week.
Hello, RWT. This is Mike Larkin, and you are listening to the Future Is Now, Episode 2, taking a look back at 205 Live and this past week's NXT. Happy 4th of July, and let's get right into the show, starting with 205 Live. Alrighty, this past week's 205, July 3rd, 2018, right after SmackDown, live from Omaha, Nebraska, or if you're TJP, Yamaha, Nebraska, as he insulted the crowd in our opening contest. Not happy to be not in the main event. It's a dump of a town that is Yamaha, as he called it, not Omaha, Nebraska. Man, I gotta tell you, this thing with TJP, I'm intrigued to see where it goes because we had a return in the first match as TJP went one-on-one with the returning Noam Dar, who is also now the number one contender for Pete Dunne's UK Championship. Noam Dar came out hot at the gate, uppercut, a leg sweep, then he hits the running kick for the 1-2-3 in about 30 seconds. Noam Dar is back, and he is a force to be reckoned with. And then we saw TJP walk into the bag, not happy, not in the mood to talk. We see Buddy Murphy hyping that he's going to send Mustafa Ali to the hospital. And then we get our second matchup of Akira Tozawa versus Jason Strife. Lio Rush, the man who comes to collect and the man who is the man of the hour, and you can feel the rush. Akira Tozawa takes on Jason Strife. It was what it needed to be. It was a showcase matchup for Akira Tozawa. Strife got some nice offense in, a couple shots, a little jumping knee as well, but the match was about 2 minutes, and Akira Tozawa wins with the Dick Togo senton off the top rope. Then Lio Rush is on the table saying that between Tozawa and Rush, Lio Rush does not, let his opportunities go to waste. He seizes the moment. What has Akira Tozawa done lately? He's the man of the hour. He's here to collect. He's the 23-year-old with the gold, and you're going to feel the rush. So Lio Rush and Akira Tozawa is coming in the future, guys. This was fine for what it was. Again, it was just Akira Tozawa showcasing himself and Jason Strife getting some offense in as well. So it was a showcase matchup. And again, Noam Dar coming out in the beginning red hot. We're going to see more of him on the NXT UK brand going forward. So yeah, that's what it is. And just, I definitely would say, be on the lookout for both individuals, Noam Dar and TJP, because I think, like I said, I'm very interested in seeing where this TJP run goes. So we shall see, because as we all know, he's been on the losing end as of late. But again, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. He's frustrated, but let's see where it happens. And I'll say right now, as far as Lio Rush goes, if it were me, because next week we do have Cedric Alexander versus Hideo Itami for the Cruiserweight Championship. That matchup was announced. If I were me, I'd have Cedric go and just roll through Hideo. I have Lio Rush roll through Tozawa. The matchup is Cedric Alexander and Lio Rush. It has to happen. So the speed and agility from both men would be amazing, and I think next week's Cruiserweight Championship match will be amazing. But yeah. Looking forward to Cedric and Hideo next week, so let's get into our main event, which was Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy. Oh my goodness, what a brawl. Buddy Murphy snap Marin Mustafa Ali into the ramp, fighting in the crowd, the Spanish fly on the table and didn't even break, the dropkick with the stairs, Buddy Murphy using the steel steps as a springboard with the dive on the outside, the superplex off the steel steps, the fighting in the ring, Mustafa Ali tied up in the ropes, the knees by Buddy Murphy, the power bombs, just these guys were going all in, and it's just, Mustafa Ali didn't quit. Buddy Murphy told a great story of just a bully that wants to eliminate Mustafa Ali, working on the back with the backdrops. In the end, the stairs were incorporated once more as Mustafa Ali hit the jumping tornado DDT for the 1-2-3. Mustafa Ali is your winner in their feud. Both men had one win apiece, and then what a way to culminate it with Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy in this no DQ match. It was great. The crowd for a time did chant no more stairs because they wanted more tables, but once that superplex happened, more stairs. It's just, like I said, I thought what they did with these stairs, it was fine. They incorporated a certain weapon, and you know what went into fruition as what we saw in the match. It was great storytelling. It didn't have to be like a CZW death match, but all in all, this was the best match on the night. We had two matches showcasing and furthering storylines with Lio Rush and Akira Tozawa, a storyline involving TJP, the inclusion of Noam Dar back into the mix, and Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy, the culmination of their feud. It was a great show. I'm looking forward to Cedric and Hideo Itami next week for the Cruiserweight Championship. And that was your 205 Live, guys. So now let's get into NXT from tonight, the 4th of July. Alrighty, and now let's get into tonight's NXT. We started off with Dakota Kai versus the returning Santana Garrett to NXT. We've seen her in Impact Wrestling. We've seen her all over the independent scene. We've seen her in the Mae Young Classic. Man, she looked great here. That Muda lock, just applying submissions, and it was a nice showcase for her. And it was a nice showcase for Dakota Kai, because Lacey Evans be bad-mouthing her, talking about, she's not acting like a lady, but Dakota Kai, who's the one who beat you in about 20 seconds, that would be Lacey Evans, who's the one who beat you in about 20 seconds, that being Dakota Kai. Excuse me. Like I said, guys, you have to forgive me from time to time. I get a little tongue-tied, and sometimes my memory, my noggin isn't the best. Like I said, epilepsy. I'm not afraid to admit it. It does happen. So, again, we're going to see a progression with the feud between Dakota Kai and Lacey Evans, which I think will be great, because Dakota Kai has that quick victory over her, like I said, about 20 seconds. So, I'm interested to see where they go further with that. So Dakota Kai gets the win with, I guess, what would be like a code red lung blower, because she does the sequence with the flip with the code red, but then she lands on like a lung blower backstabber type maneuver. But it was a sick move, and Dakota Kai gets the win over Santana Garrett. Another showcase. EC3 and Johnny Gargano arrive at the building. Tucker Knight and Otis Dozovic, which I tried very hard not to laugh. They're working out. Ooh yeah, here we go in the mighty, yeah. And then all of a sudden we hear a weight drop on Tucker Knight's knee. Tucky! And we see that it is the Mighty, the former TM61, have taken out Tucker Knight. So Otis Dozovic is going to have to go it alone, but before this, we see Shayna Baszler come out, and she says no one will beat her, and at the end of the day, it's going to result in still your NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler. Danny Burch is in the back talking about the tag team title match and Oney Lorcan's condition. Undisputed Era comes in pretty much saying like they're a loser, but Danny Burch reminds like I've beaten Kyle O'Reilly. We have a non-title victory, so we can beat the Undisputed Era. And Adam Cole, baby, says, all right, because Danny Burch challenges him to a match next week, and next week we are going to get Danny Burch versus Adam Cole, baby, one-on-one. And that leads us to our second matchup of the night, which is Shane Thorne and Nick Miller, the now christened Almighty, the Mighty, versus Otis Dozovic in a handicap match. It was just basic tag team maneuvers, working down Otis Dozovic using his power game, using the worm elbow drop to an advantage. But as he goes for the Vader bomb, we see the double team maneuver where one Shane Thorne hits a Northern Lariat, close onto the back of Otis Dozovic's neck, and Nick Miller gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. And the Mighty get the victory in this handicap matchup. Then we see Bianca Belair on her honeymoon. Congratulations to her and Montez Ford of the Street Profits are getting married, saying nobody can beat her. She's the EFT of NXT, and just wait till she comes back from her honeymoon. And personally, I love Dakota Kai. I love Bianca Belair. I almost said Dakota Kai. I'm sorry. I love Bianca Belair and the fact that she's berating Kairi Sane. She's berating Nikki Cross, Candice LeRae. I think she has a bright future and has great potential. So I'm looking forward to the progression of Bianca Belair in NXT. So that's really all I can say there. And speaking of something else I'm looking forward to, guys, Kairi Sane and Vanessa Bourne. Now, Kairi Sane said, let's have a match. She's going to beat her. She's going to make her walk the plank. And then she's going to take the treasure that is the NXT Women's Championship. So next week, besides Adam Cole, bye-bye, and Danny Burch, we are going to see Kairi Sane versus Vanessa Bourne, two competitors who know each other very well from the Mae Young Classic, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that match goes, because Vanessa Bourne is another one who's going to have a future in NXT and just the overall impact. Then we had Velveteen Dream versus Chris Dijak, the former Donovan Dijak. Man, this match was hard-hitting. Just Dijak throwing Velveteen around, Velveteen coming back, but mostly Dijak just dominating him. Then we get to the outside. He pulls Dijak off the turnbuckles, and Dijak lands face first on the ring steps. Then the Velveteen Dream hits the twisting DDT, or as I like to call it, the Velveteen DDT for the 1, 2, 3, and Velveteen Dream is your winner. EC3 makes his way to the ring because there is history here. Royal Albert Hall for the UK tournament, day 2. It was Aleister Black and Ricochet against EC3 and the Velveteen Dream, and what happened? The Velveteen Dream walked out on EC3, so I want to see EC3 versus the Velveteen Dream at the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, so I'm looking forward to that. Progresses as well. Another great matchup with Velveteen Dream and Chris Dijak showcasing what he can do. Then we get to our main event, but before that, we find out that Trent Seven and Tyler Bate are going to be fighting the Undisputed Era next week in the rematch for the tag team titles, and they're going to beat them clean as a whistle once again. So 3 matches announced for next week: Adam Cole Bebe versus Danny Burch, the Undisputed Era versus Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, Mustache Mountain for the NXT Tag Team Championship, and Kairi Sane versus Vanessa Bourne. It was also announced that Aleister Black will be live next week. We're going to get his thoughts. As we now know, in 3 weeks, Aleister Black will be defending the NXT World's Championship against the Psycho Killer himself, Mr. Tommaso Ciampa, which that is going to be so hard-hitting, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So that brings us to our main event. Another great matchup with EC3 and Johnny Gargano. Nice back and forths, but what really turned the tide here is Johnny Gargano looking at EC3. He's not envisioning EC3. He's envisioning Tommaso Ciampa, pulling down the knee pad, knees to the face, just going berserk, going bonkers, if you will, on EC3. And the finish comes where he hits EC3 with the DDT that did in Johnny Gargano at the last takeover by Tommaso Ciampa. So the nice Hangman's DDT off the rope for the 1, 2, 3. Gargano gets the victory over EC3. And just the look on his face. You can tell this is still eating at Johnny Gargano. We're probably going to get more progression with the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa feud. And it was a great way to cap off another great show in NXT this week. I got to say, guys, if you haven't checked out 205 Live or NXT, you don't know what you're missing. There's a lot of great talent, and hence why the title of this show is The Future Is Now. And just check out both shows. They were great. Everyone have a happy 4th of July. Apologize for getting tongue-tied here. But like I said, it happens from time to time. You have to forgive me. We're all human. Check out RWT Podcast on the Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Check out the S&M Show Podcast on Facebook, S&M Show Podcast, and SM Network Shows. Follow me at SM Show 1 or at MCL92 on the Twitter. Follow Max Wrestling UK on the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Podomatic, SoundCloud, iTunes, the whole nine. And guys, this will conclude another edition of the Future Is Now Episode 2. Everyone have a happy 4th of July. I got Coke Zero, so I'm going to do this. Take a sip so I don't get so tongue-tied, god dang. But man, it happens again. Forgive me. It was a very exciting week of wrestling for both NXT and the 205 Live side. Just great action all in all. And I'll be back to talk about it more on Max Wrestling. And just stay tuned for more great stuff coming from myself, the S&M Show Podcast Network, from the Max Wrestling Podcast, from RWT. Just a lot of great stuff all in all. So this can conclude another edition of The Future Is Now Episode 2. I'll be back next week for 205 Live in Episode 3 and NXT. 205 Live, we got Cedric versus Hideo for the Cruiserweight Championship. We got Adam Cole, Danny Burch. We got the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain for the tag titles. We got Kairi Sane and Vanessa Bourne. 3 weeks, we got Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. The future is now and the future is bright. And stay tuned because next week's episode is going to be a delight. That rhymes. Everyone have a great night. Have a happy 4th of July. My name is Mike Larkin, and thank you all very much, and I'll talk to you soon.